And welcome back to Sports the NEMO Way, the Elvin Hayes episode. The 6'9", 235-pound power forward is a one-time champ, 0-time MVP. He's a 12-time All-Star, 6-time All-NBA, playing 16 years in the league after being the number 1 overall pick, and he is a Hall of Famer. With career averages of 21, 12, and 1 on 45% shooting. All right, so I will now kick to Wade, who has him ranked the lowest at number 35 overall and number 7 on his power forward list.
All right.
And by the way, welcome back, Wade.
Oh, thank you.
Yay.
Thank you. All right. Well, I mean, Elvin Hayes, I'm kind of shocked I have him the lowest at 37, to be honest. But I mean, he was a beast. His counting numbers are through the roof.
Mm-hmm.
The 27,000 points, 16,000 rebounds.
Yeah,
that's insane.
I believe he's one of 5 players to have both of those.
Like that. Yeah. So he's obviously extremely talented. Accomplished quite a bit. But from what I knew about him, and then I did more research and what I had heard on some podcasts and stuff, he was kind of like the 70s Karl Anthony Towns, kind of.
That's a good way to put it.
Very talented, very good. Always put up stats. But those stats didn't really ever lead to winning until he went to the Wizards. Or the Bullets, I should say. Sorry.
The Bullets.
The Bullets. Like, I believe his career win-loss record, he only has 5 more wins than losses for his entire career. So that's not always his fault, but it's something. I mean, there was just some bad with the good. He scored a lot of points, but he did it inefficiently for a big man. Took a lot of turnaround mid-range jumpers. 45% for a 7, well, someone a little under 7 foot isn't great. He got a lot of rebounds, blocked a lot of shots, but a lot of the stuff I read, he didn't really hustle. Wasn't always in the right spot on defense, didn't play always the greatest help defense, but he was going to try and block whatever he could. He was just going to jump and block the fuck out of whatever was there. But it took Wes Unseld and the Bullets to kind of, they needed his points and his rebounds, and Wes Unseld was the leader and got the physicality on the team and led the defense and was also a great rebounder and a great outlet passer. He did everything better than Elvin Hayes, but scored the ball pretty much. And they were both great rebounders. And they had other good role players that completed Elvin Hayes, and they needed Elvin Hayes' points and rebounds, and it was kind of a good combination. And I thought about that in my head. It was kind of like if Karl Anthony Towns, who's an elite player, just loses on the Timberwolves. What if he went to the Heat? And they won a championship? It'd be almost the same thing. Bam Adebayo is Wes Unseld. Jimmy Butler is...
Jimmy Butler?
Well, Jimmy Butler. There was a guy that played with Elvin Hayes that also scored 20 points per game.
No. I wasn't saying that. I'm just saying we know how Jimmy Butler and Karl Anthony Towns get along.
Oh, they're best friends.
No, Bobby Dandridge was the other scorer.
Yes, I forgot his name. And then there were 2 or 3 other guys that all scored like 10 to 15 points per game. And then you got Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, and Kyle Lowry. It's the same fucking thing to the T.
It's a good comparison.
It's almost perfect. And that's kind of the gist I got anyway. That's all I got.
All right, fair enough. Thanks, Wade. It was nice to have you back, buddy. All right, and that will lead us to Ray, who has him second lowest at 30th overall and number 6 on his power forward list.
All right. Another old dude that nobody watched but somehow ends up on everybody's list. And our ongoing struggle to compare eras and players within these eras. I go to YouTube because I have to watch these guys play. I can't just look at the stats, because if I look at the stats, there could be an argument with the titles for Robert Orr to be on this list, but since I'm not a total mental patient, that's obviously did not happen. It was also tough because there's like one watchable video on YouTube for this guy, and that's kind of tough for a guy like me to judge, because you can show me the numbers all day, but if I can't see where the numbers come from, that's rough. That is kind of a confusing statement, so here's an example. It says his rebound average is 12.5. He also has a season where he had an average of 18.1. So I need to use the tape to see exactly how he got it done. Was it because every other player on his team was subpar? Was he missing a lot of shots and chasing down his own rebounds? Or was he just killing people on the defensive end? So that's how my mindset works, and that's why I kind of need to watch the tape. From what I've seen, very athletic, could run the floor, bang in the post, decent enough mid-range jumper for a big man. But when you have a guy that is averaging almost 20 rebounds with a monstrous point average of almost 30, you just have to put a guy like him on the list. So I guess that's why he's on mine.
Fair enough, right? Fair enough. Well, that will kick to me, who has him slightly higher at 24 overall and number 7 on his power forward list. Well, I would say the most important thing I found out about Elvin Hayes during my research was over his 16-year career, he only missed 9 games and never played less than 80 games in a season.
Yeah.
That's hella impressive. I don't think I know anybody ever to have something like never play less than 80 games in a season. 16 years. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I also learned a ton of crazy things about Elvin Hayes I didn't know. And I will say Elvin Hayes might be one of those players on the list I knew the least about. I knew he was really good, and like Wade said, his counting stats are out of this world. But then I started reading all these articles, and it was crazy. So I'm going to read some things. In a 1974 Sports Illustrated article, this was written about Elvin Hayes. During his 4 years with the Rockets, Hayes was variously considered a ball hog, a rotten apple, a dumbbell, and a guaranteed loser.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's pretty harsh.
Okay.
Bob Ryan says Hayes is the ultimate choker and calls choking or shrinking in big games a haze. And I also read that he said anybody that's too young to remember Elvin Hayes, just think Karl Malone, only worse as far as shrinking in big moments. That's what he said. And then in a 1978 SI Finals feature, because this is the year they won the finals, after Game 6, this was written about Elvin Hayes. In between his hiding and complaining to everybody that will listen about the officials, the Bullets' best player must justify his status by not dissolving in Game 7. And then he turned around and dissolved in Game 7. This is an interesting one. In 1984, when Hayes publicly and privately offered to mentor rookie Ralph Sampson, Rockets coach Bill Fitch famously told Sampson, "You stay away from that no-good fucking prick."
My God.
Wow.
Holy moly. So, yeah. Those are all the quotes I have that I put on here. There was a couple more, but none of them were as good as those. And Bill Fitch is always good for some ridiculousness. But the only other couple things I have on here was something else that got brought up quite a few places I looked, was he was the best player on a heavily, heavily favored Bullets team that went into the 75 finals and got not just beat, but swept by Rick Barry's undermanned Warriors.
That one I remember personally because the Warriors beat the Bulls in the Western Conference Finals in a 7-game slugfest. And I just knew, everybody just knew Washington was about to wax the floor with these guys. And they led, they had a lead going into the fourth quarter, all 4 games, and lost.
So, guys, I have to say something here. I never said Mark was here. That's Mark, guys. Mark Tyler is here again, a guest for this episode. So, welcome, Mark.
Thank you.
Surprise.
So we have 2 old guys this episode to talk about an old guy. But yeah, and then I looked at the box scores from that series, and Rick Barry got no help in that series. Rick Barry led the team in scoring, and Then the next leading scorer was, now I'm losing my train.
Keith Wilkes, maybe.
Yeah, Wilkes, but he only averaged 11 points a game. Yeah. And Rick Barry led the team in assists and was second in rebounds. Like, he just came in and beat the Bullets by himself, essentially. Anyway, and not only did he lose that series, but his points, rebounds, and field goal percentage were all well below his season average during that series. I'm talking Hayes, not Barry. Then, in 1978, when he finally did win a title with the Bullets, as Wade mentioned earlier, you older guys can talk to me about this. I look at the team, the Sonics team that they beat, and I don't even know how they got there. More or less took this Bullets team with 4 Hall of Famers on it to 7 games, but they went to Game 7, like I mentioned earlier, that Sports Illustrated article, and Hayes, with 10 minutes left in the game, fouls out with only 12 points. Wow. And they go on to win anyway. And in the entire series, 7 games, he only scored 19 points in fourth quarters. 7 games with the fourth quarters, he scored 19 points.
You mean combined the whole?
Combined the whole series. Like, so as somebody that never watched him play and only has a couple YouTube videos to watch, like Ray said earlier, I obviously can't speak to it personally, but some of these things seem to back up, like Bob Ryan's thing of, like, he didn't show up in big moments, he didn't show up in big games. I don't know. But that is my opening statement on Elvin Hayes. So that would kick us to Uncle Doug, who has him at 23 overall and 5 on his power forward list.
Yeah, Elvin definitely had some problems in the finals. Elvin was a good scorer, rebounder, especially offensive rebounds. I believe he may have held the record for a while for most offensive rebounds in a game.
Oh, I didn't read that, but I don't mean that's not true.
I think Rodman tied it twice.
Our boy.
But yeah, Hayes got a lot of offensive rebounds. Again, 13th on the points list, 6th on the rebound list, 28th on the block list. 2 rebounding championships, 1 scoring championship, which, interesting, I believe was his very first year in the league.
I think you're right. I think I read that.
Yeah. I think he had the scoring championship his first year in the league.
Yeah, his rookie year, he averaged 28 and 17.
Yeah, it was crazy.
That's phenomenal.
That is.
He actually has the 5th highest rookie scoring average in NBA history.
Yeah.
And only person since him to eclipse it is Jabbar.
Okay.
Mike came close. Mike was 0.2 of a point behind him.
Oh, wow.
But, yeah, so.
And in college, I believe during the his Houston team is the team that beat Jabbar. I think the one game that Jabbar lost that one season. Now, Jabbar came back and got him.
He got him
in the playoffs, in the finals.
Final Four, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, got him later in the NCAA tournament. But during the season, Hayes and Houston got him.
The first time Kareem got an eye injury. And and later on, he would wear goggles to protect himself. But
Did Hayes play with somebody else at Houston?
I don't know. He was the man. He had like 40-something points.
Yeah. I mean, he was the man in Houston.
In Houston, that's when Elvin Hayes sort of exploded on the map because that game was big time, Astrodome and
right. Yeah, I mean it was a big deal.
Classic. It was an instant classic.
But
look at the old guy schooling us over here.
Well, I remember watching that game more than I remember watching him play in the NBA.
Was that Kareem's only game he lost in college?
I know it was the only one they lost that year. That might have been the only one he lost in college.
I mean, it's not like UCLA lost many games.
No, he won 3 titles in a row.
Right.
And he couldn't play in the tournament as a freshman. Right. At that time, freshmen were not eligible.
They weren't eligible.
And that's the famous story about Jabbar is his freshman team beat the UCLA varsity that were national champions.
So, I thought in a past episode we talked about somebody was on the only team to beat Walton. Was that
David
Dantley?
Thompson.
Oh, Dave.
Well, Dantley beat
Dantley at Notre Dame.
They ended like an 88 game.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
all right.
ended UCLA's
Right.
streak. Yeah, that was
Where'd Dantley go again?
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, he was Notre Dame.
All right. So I didn't mean to interrupt your.
No,
opening
that's all right.
statement.
That's pretty much what I was just going over the numbers there, and I did find one really. I always kind of look at the MVPs because he didn't. His two best times, he finished third. And the 1 year, it was 78-79. He averaged like 21.8 points, 12 rebounds, and he lost out to Moses Malone, who had 24.8 and 17.6. But the first time he came third in the MVP was 74-75. And Bob McAdoo was the MVP. Averaged 34.5 points and 14.1 rebounds. Ooh. It's like, man.
Well, I also read a couple places that Hayes may have had a Rick Barry type problem when it came to the MVP, that the other players in the league didn't like him, and that's when the players voted for the MVP, so he didn't get a lot of votes always.
Well, it was kind of interesting looking at his scoring. He has the really big first year.
Mm-hmm.
And then he doesn't really go totally crazy.
He tapers off quickly. It's like 28, 27, 28, and then he goes 25, and it's 21, 21, 23, 19, 23.
Right, he's pretty consistent right around that 20 mark.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was weird. Like I said a couple episodes ago, like I always put down like their best seasons, and like I have down his second best season as his rookie year.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, so.
Yeah, he came out of college and just tore it up.
All right, you got anything else, Uncle Doug?
Nope, that's...
All right, well, that will lead us to Drew.
Oh, boy.
Who does have him the highest at number 18 overall.
Yeah.
I think Drew has a love affair with old power forwards. And number 4 on his power forward list.
Bob Pettit, of course.
Yeah, there you go.
You've missed my Bob Pettit rambles, Wade.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
He's had some, yes, he has. So, Drew, what you got?
Well, you guys have basically talked for about 10 minutes now about Elvin Hayes. I don't know what much more I can
17
say.
minutes.
17
minutes.
we went in there and talked about other stuff, but I don't know. I love all around his averaging double digits and rebounds and points. But I think for a power forward, that's huge. Being on the rebound, especially with him having all those offensive rebounds, I think that means he's crashing the boards. 2 all defense teams. I'm not exactly sure when they came in with how long he played. He probably should have maybe got more, but with all the big guys in that era, I think he still shows to be able to play defense a little bit. So I like that for power forward. I think they got to be able, most of the time they anchor the defense, but like Wade said earlier, Wes Unseld anchored the defense in Washington. So I'm sure, and also like Wade said, he probably got lazy at times, which I see if that. But I just like how he's an all-around player, and his totals I think are very well for a power forward.
Okay. So I have a question real quick that I'm just... So, Ray, you got the basketball reference page pulled up. Can you get go over to the rebounds so everybody can see it?
Okay. So they're right there.
Yeah. So at the bottom, it says he averages 3.1 offensive rebounds a game and 7.8 defensive rebounds a game for a total rebound rate of 12.5. Those numbers don't add to 12.5.
Huh. Well, I mean, they're not really accurate either because you're missing about 4 seasons, too.
Well, they should still... All the numbers should still add up on the years they count.
Well, I mean, that's true, but I mean...
Yeah, I mean, like, that should be, 11 or 10-9?
11... Yeah, you're about a couple tenths off on the total rebound.
Maybe on the total rebounds, since they counted all
They
those,
counted all
they're
the
taking
seasons.
all those seasons. They don't break it down into defensive or offensive rebounds until about year 5 or 6.
Yeah.
So then they're going on from there. And his big rebounding seasons are there at the beginning that don't count. So then his total offensive rebounds and defensive rebounds are the averages are lower because it's his lower rebounding seasons.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think you're right. Well, that's a good call. Yeah. Yeah, his first 5 years in the league, they didn't divide up his rebounds.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. I know that probably wasn't great podcast because you can't see what we're looking at, but yeah, they didn't add up to the numbers there, so I was just wondering about that. All All right, so now I'm going to talk to Mark. Mark, you said you have Elvin Hayes, number 8 on your power forward list. That would be the lowest in the room. I guess you just want to give a little statement on Elvin Hayes?
I test. I remember the turnaround jumpers. He had a really nice turnaround jumper that was a weapon for him. Just like, though, that they were upset by the Golden State Warriors in 75, they upset the 76ers, turned around and upset the 76ers in 78 when the Sixers had Dr. J and George McGinnis, that group in the Eastern Conference Finals in 78. I didn't realize he had such a toxic person. Now that was something I didn't know anything about that. But I remember him just being just crazy on the boards. He was a rebounding machine, I guess. And this was in the days when power forwards used to rebound. They were a center's best friend back when he played. I can remember him being effective. I didn't know he had a knack for wilting in big moments. But it makes sense because that, at least I thought, that Washington team was stacked in 75. Matter of fact, I think they won 60 games, and the Celtics won 60 games because the East, in 75, the East was tough. I mean, the East, it was the Celtics, and you knew it was going to be the Celtics or the Washington Bullets, and I think Buffalo was good too.
I was like, what about the Bucks? Wouldn't the Bucks still have been really good then?
But the Bucks were in the West back in those days.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you showing my age there.
No, I didn't know either.
They realigned it in 79, but the Buffalo Braves, which are today's Clippers, they were
which was Bob McAdoo.
Bob McAdoo, they were good too. Bob McAdoo and Randy Smith, so they were good too. So you just figured the team coming out the East was going to win it, and lo and behold,
Rick Barry said no.
Rick Barry was lighting guys up, and this was before the 3-point line. And these were all mid-range to further out jumpers, and he was just lighting them up. And I think I mentioned this to you. The basketball issue the next season for Sports Illustrated had a picture of the Washington Bullets walking in the locker room after Game 4, saying they still can't believe it. So I do remember he had a devastating turnaround jumper. He could really light it up with his turnaround jumper, rebounding machine. But he didn't. I mean, he got the one final, but he fouled out Game 7. With 10 minutes and
who fouls out with 10 minutes left?
That's
not in today's NBA.
No, not only that, but I went and looked to make sure like there wasn't a rule change or something. He had 6 fouls, so it wasn't like it was 5. It is 6 fouls still.
But I think probably the best player on that team. I don't know if he was but Bob Dandridge was extremely effective.
I read article yesterday. Well, it was a Bill Simmons thing talking about the legacy of Elvin Hayes, and he says in his article, he said that Elvin Hayes was not the best player on that championship team.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I tell you what, in 78 they would not have won without Bobby Dandridge. He was scoring the ball.
Yeah, and Dandridge won a title with Jabbar in Milwaukee. Yeah,
with Kareem and Oscar Robertson. Yeah.
So who was MVP?
Wes Unseld.
Wes Unseld, yeah.
Dr. J said about Wes Unseld, he said you just didn't move him. He said
I read an article that Wilt Chamberlain admitted to being scared of one guy, and it was Wes Unseld. Because Wes Unseld could push him around.
Yep. He was one strong man.
Doc said he had to be careful about going in the hole when
Wes Unseld. Yeah.
It's a famous story. He dunked. Wes Unseld was out the game. He came down and he just dunked on Elvin Hayes. He said Elvin Hayes didn't speak to him for like 20 years. And they didn't get it resolved until the 97 All-Star game where they had the 50 greatest players. It was in Cleveland. And Dr. J went up to him and said, "Man, don't you think it's about time we got over this?"
So I guess my next question to everybody, let everybody answer. Do you think Elvin Hayes could play in later eras?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he had the talent.
Yeah.
I think he
I
could
think
play
so.
whenever.
Yeah.
I don't think he would be as effective today.
It like exactly today,
Right.
but
Just because of the spacing, or
Spacing
Yeah.
and his style. Now, he could have been effective in the 80s and 90s because the game hadn't opened up like
Yeah.
it has now yet. So he still would have been effective then.
I think a lot of big men would struggle now, just because
Yeah.
most teams don't even use centers because there's so
Right.
much.
Right.
well,
So
Yeah.
everybody's so
that's
spread
my.
out.
I believe like Wade that he could play in other eras. Today, if he played today, he'd be a center.
That's true.
Okay.
He wouldn't
Yeah.
play power forward. They'd just play him at center. I mean,
He could be DeAndre Ayton. I think he could do everything DeAndre Ayton does, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
See, to me, he wasn't as athletic as DeAndre Ayton.
Really?
DeAndre Ayton is athletic.
I mean,
Well,
I
DeAndre-
watched him more than I did. so-
Ayton is. I mean, like last night I was watching him switch on to Curry and stay in front of Curry out on the perimeter.
Right. Elvin Hayes
Um,
couldn't do that. He could not do
Now
that.
I will say, watching a lot of these old videos, certain guys you're just like looking at it like, I didn't look at that Hayes videos like that at all. I watched him catch alley oops on a video and dunk them.
Yeah.
So I watched him banging with guys down low.
Now, he can do that. I mean, he would have been totally effective against like the bad boy Pistons. They would not been able to. They wouldn't have intimidated him.
Now I will say this as well. It's not super heavy, but 235 is one of the heavier players we've seen from this era. I mean, a lot of the guys are like 205, 210. Like they got,
Yeah.
I mean, like, and now you got 6'9", 235.
Right.
I mean, I think they got McHale listed at 6'10", 210. Like,
210.
yeah.
The weights are
weights
crazy.
are just crazy.
That
Well, the
doesn't
one
matter.
was like Durant's heavier than it was like Patrick Ewing or something.
Yeah.
It's like, hell no.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Well, I
Something
mean,
crazy like
Kevin
that.
Durant weighs the same as what they have Elvin Hayes listed as.
No.
235.
Yeah, that's what they have
They have
Durant
Dwayne
listed as.
Wade weighing more than Scottie Pippen. They got all kinds of weird stuff.
Wow.
All right. So, anybody have anything they'd like to add before we go into litigation?
That's it. That's that.
I'm okay.
Wade's missed out on.
The defense for us.
All right. So, Alex's litigation corner
Yeah.
starts now with the usual Ray. But Ray, I will tell you today, you're not the person I come after the most today.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
That's true.
I figured. I figured.
So, Ray, you have Elvin Hayes ranked ahead of the Big O. Would you like to explain?
I would like to, but I'm not really sure if I can. I didn't. Wow, that's a good question, which I don't know if I can answer. But see if I can bullshit my way through this. I mean, Elvin Hayes' accolade or his stats are just phenomenal. So maybe that's why I have him above him. And this week, the title really doesn't matter. I mean, it doesn't really matter in my arguments ever, except for like the last 2 weeks. But I mean,
Don't get me fired up again, Ray.
Excuse me. The Bob Cousy argument, the 6 championships, got brought up a lot.
but I guess I mean, the way his play was and his stats just kind of mixed together, where I just have him above Big O, and I think
Okay.
that's where I'm at.
Okay. Now, after only one person, I'm going to switch to the other direction.
Oh my God! I only get one question.
No. You get more than one question.
Oh, okay.
I'm just going the opposite way now.
All right.
Why do you have Steve Nash ranked ahead of Elvin Hayes?
Well, I think Steve Nash has got a better complete skill set, and he actually, I think the MVPs kind of threw it in there, but I think Steve Nash has got more of a total complete skill set, minus, the defense a little bit, but Elvin Hayes has got, the complete power forward skill set, but Steve Nash has got more complete skill set overall, and he showed that, at least with one MVP that he won. So,
Okay. Now the obvious one, Ray. Why is Reggie higher?
That's a bias. Reggie's a bias pick. Plus, Reggie had way more clutch games where he was in the middle to where he was winning them. So, I mean, as we already discussed, and I didn't really realize until y'all kind of threw it out there, Elvin Hayes kind of throws some goose eggs in, major games. Reggie was there throwing darts and winning them in the playoffs. So, I mean, right there, we'll go with that.
Okay, just a couple more over here, Ray.
Damn.
The next one, Grant Hill. Why's Grant Hill head up there?
I just really like Grant Hill.
I like Grant Hill too.
Okay, well, hold on. Don't judge me yet.
I just laugh, man.
But he's probably got the best skill set above Elvin Hayes. I mean, he's got a lot of shit seasons because of his injuries, and he just couldn't recover from it. But I've got to show Grant Hill some props because he was on top of his game, and he's probably got a better skill set and a better overall gameplay than probably half the list that we picked. The only reason we don't have Grant Hill on everybody's list because the stats just don't add up, and he don't have the titles that showed respect towards Grant Hill. I have the what if, Grant Hill scenario in my mind to where Grant Hill is just, if he would have continued, he would probably be in the top 10. But I got to show Grant Hill respect for what he put towards, when he played and when he wasn't injured.
Okay. Well, I will say, Ray, I checked to make sure, but you do not have Charles Oakley ranked ahead of Elvin Hayes. So I'll give you props on that.
Okay.
My last one for you, Ray, and is why you got Ewing, Patrick Ewing.
Ewing?
Yeah.
He was just dominant. He was just that dominant of a player. And with them clutch, well, not clutch for Ewing. I mean, he threw some duck eggs too. But, I mean, he was there competing. He might not have had the best team, but he was there, grit and grind, throwing it out. Teammate, he was a good teammate towards all his players. And, they might have lost in the finals and, shit might have went down. But, I mean, that's a grit and grind player, and I got to show Patrick Ewing props. So.
Well, I will agree with you on one thing, Ray. I mean, Ewing didn't play with the caliber of teammates that Elvin Hayes did. He wasn't playing with no Wes Unselds or Bobby Dandridge or Gus Williams or anybody like that. So that's it, man. That's all I got for you,
all
man.
Right.
Nothing too difficult for you today,
No,
man.
pretty good. I feel good.
Yeah. So, Uncle Doug, I'm going to get you out the way.
Okay.
You got Elvin Hayes ranked ahead of Dirk. Why is that?
Well, I was just looking at that, and of course, my power forwards I'm going to rework because we know that the comment about Kevin Garnett's coming.
Well, no, I actually intentionally left him off this week because I've picked on you with Garnett like 3 or 4 weeks in a row. So
I think pretty much with the power forwards, it was one of the first lists I did. And I think I went with stats, not necessarily accolades, because I think Garnett and Dirk both have more accolades than Hayes. And on my final list, we'll probably both rise above him.
Okay.
So.
Okay, fair enough.
So I've been reevaluating.
The next one is Rick Barry. Why the hell is Hayes ahead of Barry?
Well, I guess I didn't realize until now that I just looked at that. Again, probably stats. I said with power forwards, I did a lot of the stats stuff. Barry's got a couple extra points, but half the rebounds. So that's probably what I was looking at.
Okay. Now I'm going to go the opposite way for you, Uncle Doug. This is your last one.
All right.
Why do you have Pettit ranked ahead of Hayes?
There's no other reason that.
I'll get to you in a minute, Drew. I'll get to you in a minute.
Well, the reason Pettit's ahead of him, again, is definitely stats. 26 and 16
Yeah.
over 21 and 12.
2 MVPs.
So, plus I hear this all the time.
Yeah. All right, well, I'll leave you alone, Uncle Doug.
All right.
And I'm going to move to Wade.
Okay.
Just like Ray, I've only got one for you as far as why is he ranked ahead of.
Okay.
Why is Hayes ranked ahead of Havlicek?
Havlicek. Oh, Havlicek.
Had a brain fart there. You didn't realize who Havlicek was?
I kind of did. Havlicek. Who the hell's
Who the hell's that guy?
First thing that popped in my head was John Hornacek. I was like, what?
Wade doesn't like the old guys much.
No, I do not. So,
well, they came in the league just a few years apart. That's why it was interesting to me because they're both old guys.
Yeah. Well, I guess one's a wing and one's a big guy.
That's true.
I don't know. I felt like Elvin Hayes, more dominant, I guess. But I mean, it's just an opinion. I guess I don't. I'm not expert on either one. I didn't watch either one play.
Oh, fair enough.
It was just my opinion. I took the big man in a big man dominant era. He was one of the best big men. And Havlicek got a lot of his success with the most stacked team maybe in history. And then he did have some success after that with Cowens and was it JoJo White on that team.
Mm-hmm.
But again, just another really stacked team. But I don't know. I mean, I guess it could go either way. I'm not that up in the air about it, to be completely honest.
Fair enough. Now I'm going to go the opposite way with you, Willard. Why you got George Gervin ahead of Elvin Hayes?
I just like George Gervin. I do.
The old guys are like, yeah, George Gervin.
I'll be honest. Well, see, exactly. George Gervin, in my opinion, I guess you could say is kind of a more guard version of Hayes. Maybe not a leader, maybe not the greatest, but he could score the basketball. And I believe you told me in the Dennis Rodman episode, the most important thing in basketball is scoring the basketball.
Oh, yeah.
George Gervin all the way, baby. Ooh. Finger rolling.
All right. Well, this one's even more of a question for
me. Yeah. Oh, you told me I had one question.
No, I have one question on that side. The opposite direction, I have a few questions for you.
Okay.
This is the biggest question for me for you, though.
Okay.
Why is Ray Allen ahead of Elvin Hayes?
Ray Allen?
Yeah.
Championships and shooting. I believe shooting is the most important thing you can do on a basketball floor. It spreads the floor for everybody on the team, makes everybody around you better. Elvin Hayes is not dropping threes.
Well, I don't disagree with that, but are we asking our big men to do that? I mean,
today, yes.
Yes, but I mean, the rest of time, no.
Well, I mean that's true, but I mean, could Elvin Hayes do it even if he was asked? That's also a question.
I mean, I would tend to say yes, just as a guess, because he had such a dominant jump shot at 15 feet. You know, maybe he would have stretched himself out if he played today.
Ben Wallace had a little jump shot he shot right next to the free throw line. That doesn't mean he could shoot off three, though.
Yeah, but he was terrible at it. I mean, Elvin Hayes
can hit a little
Elvin Hayes made a career out of shooting jump shots.
Okay, well, let's say he does hit a couple threes. He's not fucking Ray Allen. He's the second best three-point shooter ever. That's my point.
No, I'm not knocking Ray Allen's shooting. Ray Allen's on my list too. I was just asking the question. I mean,
I believe spreading the floor is the most important thing on offense you can do. It makes everyone around you better, even if you don't have the ball. You being on the court and running around occupies the defense. You flip the switch when you start draining threes and you're running around, and that opens up everything else. Elvin Hayes was known for the opposite of being a black hole that just caught the ball, turned around and shot it inefficiently. So I took the efficient shooter over the inefficient, but still dominant big man, I guess. We'll word it that way.
And now I'm going to go with the big one here, Wade.
Okay.
Why is Kawhi ahead of him?
Got this Kawhi Leonard. You want me to go down this list? Who's got more championships? Kawhi Leonard. Who's got more finals MVPs? Kawhi Leonard. Who's got more all-defensive teams? Kawhi Leonard. Get out of town. Get out of town.
Who missed more games? Kawhi Leonard.
Wade, you did convince me on the Kawhi Leonard.
Woo!
He got in on my 10 spot on small forward, and I had to scratch out Dominique.
Yeah.
Nice to have you back, Wade.
Yeah.
All right, Drufus.
I got my notebook right, so I can tell you why I did it.
All right,
whatever you name.
All right, why is Elvin Hayes ranked ahead of the Admiral?
Okay, we're off to a great start here. Let me look. I'll compare what I was thinking at the time, 'cause I'm pretty sure. This is what I did. I just looked at it.
You have him right ahead of the rat. Yeah,
which was the question I was going to ask you.
I was gonna say what?
I ask questions every week, but I agree with them. I just
didn't know you knew. I was like, oh, okay.
All right. Well, they score both 21, and then I looked at rebounds. They're both big guys. Elvin got 2 more. And then assists. I mean, it's about half. They both have scoring titles. Robinson's only 4 more times All-NBA. He does have an MVP, which Hayes does not. But I think Robinson, that year when he got his MVP, his team wasn't very good, was it?
No, I don't believe that Spurs team was great.
I feel like
they were good.
Were they?
Yeah, the year he got MVP was the year they lost to the Rockets in the playoffs. Remember when Hakeem, that famous fake where he went up and under, you got Robinson going one way and Hakeem going the other way scoring? That's the year he got MVP, I think.
All right.
I mean, Dave Robinson was good, but I'm going to agree with you a little bit.
I think Elvin Hayes, I think he was dominant. I think he could have dominated. I know Robinson played in that same, like the dominant big guy area, but I think Elvin Hayes could have been able to done it too with some of the moves around the basket with the jump shot. I think he could have been able to done what David Robinson was able to do. I mean, they're pretty close accolades. I mean, Robinson didn't get his title, so he got Tim Duncan and a little bit better players on his team as well. So I think Hayes did the same thing. So I think that's why I gave it more to Hayes. Cause just a little bit more statistically, and totals were just a little bit higher than Robinson.
Okay.
All right, I'm gonna go back to Elvin Hayes' own position real quick. Why Hayes ahead of Barkley?
Okay, let me find Barkley real quick.
Has anybody else got Hayes ahead of Barkley?
Shit, I don't know.
I don't.
I have Barkley.
Barkley scored 1 more point. Hayes had 1 more rebound. Barkley did have like 2 or 3 more assists than Hayes did.
Barkley does have a pretty high assist total for a big guy.
3.9, basically 4. So Barkley's got MVP. Hayes has a title.
I didn't know Barkley only had 1 less rebound than Hayes.
Yeah, Barkley was 11.7 on rebounds. Barkley has 5 more All-NBAs. Elvin Hayes does have a scoring title. Hayes is 2-time All-Defense. Barkley does not. Hayes has 1 more All-Star, but that's... So I think I don't know. I think just because Hayes has a couple more accolades than what Barkley does. Barkley basically just has this 1 MVP and then All-NBAs and All-Stars for his 11 years. That's why I put Hayes ahead.
Okay. Same question, only a different person, but Garnett.
Okay. Let me look.
I decided to go after, because I saw somebody else did it, so I was like, I'll ask him about Garnett and said Uncle Doug
That's
this week.
Fine. Hayes,
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Hayes scored 4 more points, got 2.5 more rebounds, but again, Garnett had 3.7 assists. Garnett has an MVP. Hayes does not. He has quite a bit more all-star appearances, way more all-defense. He got all-defense player of the year. I think I went with stats, with him only scoring 17 and 10 compared to Hayes' 21 and 12.5. I think that's where I got that there. I think Garnett's accolades definitely outshine Hayes'.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what I did for that one.
All right. I only have 1 more for you, Drew.
Can I take a guess?
Sure.
Nobody can guess one. Let's see here.
Sure.
Bill Russell.
It is Bill Russell. You have Elvin Hayes ranked ahead of Bill Russell. I believe you're the only person in the room.
Probably.
I looked because I wanted to see if Wade did it too.
I can still answer for you. I don't like Bill Russell.
I don't like
do it,
Bill
man.
Russell. It's just, I don't know. Okay, here we go. He only scored 15 and 22, and Elvin Hayes was 21 and 12, which I think they did overlap a little bit, didn't they?
A couple years.
Yeah, it wasn't very much, but I think the thing that gets me with Bill Russell is how he didn't score that much in that era with how many possessions and how tall he was, with him and Wilt being like the only really tall guys, and that they were always up for like the MVPs. I don't know. That kind of gets me a little bit. He does have 11 titles, yes, we all know that. To Elvin Hayes' 1.
I like how you just brushed that aside. Like, well, we all know he has 11 titles. Let's move on.
I was thinking Alex is not gonna let that go.
I had to say it because I knew someone would say it if I didn't say it. Russell is the 5 MVPs, but we all know the MVPs were him and Wilt for all those years, and we've argued that on many old guys.
Your boy got one. Bob Pettit got one.
Bob Pettit did. He got 2, Wade.
Oh, 2. I'm
He
sorry.
got 2. But I think it's just, I think the stats better with Elvin Hayes scoring more points with. I think he played a little bit better big man area and later on era. I think I like it better. And Elvin Hayes did have good teammates, but not as good as Bill Russell did. I think so. I think that's why I put Hayes above him.
So what you're saying is you could beat some of the Washington Bullets in 1-on-1 too. Is that what you're saying?
I never said I could beat the Celtics. Well, I have agreed with Wade now with Bob Cousy.
Bob Cousy's going down.
That's right. Who was it you got on your side now? Was it Schaller?
Yeah, Schaller agrees with me that
yeah.
Drury could beat Bob Cousy. Bob Cousy's trash. Trash.
Oh man!
All right. Well, that was my last question for you, Drew.
All right.
Mark, what do you think of all this craziness?
You know, I think for the most part, the people who have Elvin Hayes on the lower end, I think evaluated him fairly enough. I don't.
All right.
On my power forward list, he's 8. I don't think. Now, I think he had a skill set that would have been effective right up through about 2005, 6, 7, before the floor started expanding.
Mm-hmm.
Today, like you said, he'd be a center. Now, he would be a halfway effective center. He's not going to get all those. They don't rebound like that anymore. I don't know what happened. That just don't. You just don't get 18. You don't average 17 and 18 rebounds anymore.
No,
that does not happen. So I was a little disappointed to learn about his propensity for not showing up in big games, because he has great stats.
Oh yeah,
he has overwhelming stats. But in the next segment, the very thing I'm arguing is what Elvin Hayes didn't do.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't lead in big games.
It was, I would say, and of all the episodes, we're at what, 49, 48 episodes now?
Yeah, 48, I think.
48.
Yeah.
Elvin's 48.
Of all the research I've done for these 48 episodes, this was the one where I was the biggest. I had the most surprises.
Right.
Where I was like, I would read something and go, "Oh shit!" Like I didn't realize that. Oh.
I was like, Mark, I didn't realize some of the comments that were made about Elvin Hayes.
I didn't.
You know,
I didn't know.
Back then, you didn't have social media, and everything wasn't out there like it is now.
Yes,
I mean,
not out there.
Player spits on the sidewalk now. Everybody knows.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And back then, it wasn't necessarily that way.
Mm-hmm. And he didn't play regional here. You know, not like he played for the Bulls.
Right.
You know, he's out on the East Coast. So I mean,
Speaking of things that like the media is different, we didn't know. For instance, you're a baseball guy. I know you're a big baseball guy. Mickey Mantle for the Yankees. I didn't know he was an alcoholic until he died, and ESPN was talking. I didn't even know that. I'm like, he was a big name baseball player. How come I didn't know that? I was a baseball fan, but they didn't. Media wasn't like it is now. We didn't know everything about your life.
No, I mean I've heard that from a lot of sources your all's age. Like you got people your age is like, hey, the media is so different than it used to be. So I don't doubt that, but the media's changed in my lifetime. Even when I was younger, I mean, we didn't have social media where everything comes from now. But I mean, even by the time I came around, ESPN was on the scene, and they had the ticker, and ESPN ran Sports Center every hour, and so if you wanted to know a lot of things, you could get it. But it is a little foreign for me even to be like, man, how did y'all not know this or that? Because it just seems like something we would know today.
Yeah, I got kind of a question.
Fair enough.
And
fire away. Sorry.
Even what I'm about to say will even go against some of the stuff I did on my own list. But with some of the stuff we hold against Elvin Hayes, I mean, Barkley didn't get anything done. Malone didn't get it done. McHale was never even a number one option when he won anything. I mean, there's a lot of power forwards that didn't get it done. Why are we knocking Elvin Hayes down so much for it when a bunch of them didn't get it done? Never even was in his position to get it done?
Well, I mean, for me personally, I would say it's different losing and not showing up. You know what I mean? Barkley had a really, really great series against Jordan's Bulls. Jordan just had a better series.
That one, I agree. But
Malone, we have discussed it. Malone did lay eggs in big moments for a lot of his career.
Mm-hmm. But he also accomplished more than Barkley. He got to 2 finals. Barkley got to 1. So he made it farther than Barkley.
Let me take someone off that list. Kevin McHale don't belong on that list. Kevin McHale balled out when he.
But we did discuss, and my point with McHale was, though, like, Hayes was supposed to be the number one, like, scoring option, supposed to be the number one guy.
Right.
McHale never even had to be the number one guy.
No, he didn't.
Because Bird was.
Bird was the number one, but for Scottie Pippen, Michael was the number one guy.
I'm just saying.
Hold on. Wait, Scottie was better than Michael. The media just made Michael better.
I know why you're getting mad.
You missed this, Wade.
Oh, no. You missed that. Wait. I listened to that one? Yeah, I think I listened to that one.
Well, there's debate now who was really better, Michael or Scottie. But
only in Scottie's mind.
Scotty's mind.
Yeah.
Leave Scotty alone. He's going through a midlife crisis.
He is. He is. He's going
through some stuff.
But McHale was big time, guys. I'm telling you, McHale was big time. And this is the eye test. I saw all those finals against the Lakers. I'm like, man, who got Kevin?
I love that you two are on the same couch together. This is going to be great.
Wherever's Kevin all those games, he didn't start.
But half his career. Being the best 6-man then.
Yeah, but half his career.
Kevin, I'm telling you, Kevin was you couldn't stop him on the block.
Kevin had some good games. He did. But the Lakers won 5 and the Celtics won 3.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And head to head, the Lakers won 2 and the Celtics won 1.
Yeah.
That's why I'm not as big on Kevin.
I think Kevin. I'm trying to think to word this right. Peak Kevin was a monster, in my opinion. That's why he made it as high on my list. But I mean, what Uncle Doug said isn't wrong. He did sit the bench for over half his career. So I mean, it's probably, I don't know. To me, it's somewhere in the middle between you two. He was a beast for 3-4 years. He had
Probably.
3-4 years.
Yeah,
he had really
some
good
years there. He did.
And he did win 2 6 Man of the Year awards, like he said. But I don't know. My point was, it's not that he was good or bad, but it's that he was never even in the position to be the number one like Elvin Hayes was supposed to be. And then a bunch of other power forwards didn't get it done either. So it's kind of interesting just to think about.
Well, I will say this, though. The year Elvin Hayes won his championship, he averaged the exact same amount of points as Bobby Dandridge. So, I don't even know. I mean, he was still averaging a nice amount of points, but I mean,
in the finals?
No, I mean in the season.
It was like 21 and 20, I think.
I was gonna say 19, but yeah, it may be.
We're right there together.
Yeah, like they averaged like just a few tenths of a point apart. Mm-hmm. So I was, like maybe because for him to be successful, somebody else needed to go out there and score. So you know what I'm saying. Again, this is all guesswork for me. I didn't get to watch any of this.
From when I was reading, from what I kind of picked up on, Elvin Hayes was the most talented player. Wes Unseld was the most important player, and then the guy whose name I keep forgetting that you two keep talking about, Dandridge, was kind of somewhere in the middle of those two. But so I think, and Wes Unseld being he was like Mr. Bullet back then, and that's probably, some people say that's probably why he got the Finals MVP.
Yeah, he only averaged like 9 or 10 points.
Yeah. He averaged like 17 rebounds.
Right.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Well, I mean,
and anchored the defense.
Well, Unseld has an MVP.
Yeah,
like a regular season MVP.
He was kind of like a Dennis Rodman that could also pass. And
he was a great outlet passer too.
They say he was the hardest pick setter. Like everything I kept reading, he did everything exceptionally well except score the basketball.
You know what? When you read things about Wes Unseld, and again, I didn't watch Wes Unseld play, but y'all know the X-Men, the Blob.
Yeah.
You know how he's an immovable object, and like he like has like a magnetism to the earth. Like, that's the way they describe. Now, they don't compare him to the Blob, but that's the way they describe Wes Unseld. When he set a pick, nobody in the league could move this man.
Right.
When he was on the block, nobody in the league could move this man. Like, that's the way he's described. It's like he was the Blob. Like, Juggernaut came up and tried, but he failed. They couldn't move him.
He was only
Like,
6'7".
Yeah.
He was.
He was
short,
only 6'7".
yeah.
He was a short center, but man,
He was a tough man.
he was a tough dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Hayes in that finals, if you look at the box score, Hayes is better. Hayes like triples his points. I think their rebounds are actually close. I think they're passing. I don't remember the passing. Unseld might get him in passing, but again, even though Unseld was probably the better defender, I think Hayes gets him in blocks. So it's a tricky thing. Like the box score might point towards Hayes, but some people would tell you other things about other players.
But from what you said, I'm sure Unseld was more popular.
Yeah, that's what the article I read said. He was like Mr. Bullet.
Right.
Well, isn't
Everybody loved
Unseld a
him.
career bullet?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah,
Yes.
he was the fan favorite,
He
and
was.
Hayes was
He was the face of the
wishy-washy.
franchise,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't Unseld average like 9 and 12? Was it 9 and 12?
For the season or for the...
No, in the finals.
That's what I'm trying to look up. I have the season pulled up. I'm trying to look
Like
at the...
9 points, 12
finals,
rebounds,
yeah.
and then like 4 assists, something like that.
Okay, so for the series... Sorry, my computer's being dumb. For the series, Unsold averaged 9 points, 11 rebounds, 4 assists.
Wow.
Daddy was almost right on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good job, Daddy.
Thank you.
So yeah. Yeah, I mean, all of them had decent series. I mean, Dandridge averaged 20 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists, a steal, and a block. And Hayes averaged 20 and 11 and an assist. So
I honestly thought Hayes scored more than that, but I'd still over twice as much as Unseld. But so yeah, I'm pretty sure that's been a debated topic for a while, if Hayes should have got the Finals MVP or not. But I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't watch it.
Well, the other thing is, though, too, we talked about this in the Barry episode. Whether it's fans, whether it's media, whether it's players, if people don't like you, they won't vote for you.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it over and over again. Let's look at the Baseball Hall of Fame. You telling me if Barry Bonds was a nice guy, he wouldn't be in the Hall of Fame?
Or Roger Clemens.
Or Roger Clemens? But they two of the biggest assholes in sports.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a point.
Because here's the thing. We overlook things from nice guys. In sports, I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, oh, he messed up and he said he was sorry. I forgive his ass. Roger Clemens told me to go fuck myself.
I heard a sports writer basically admit that. I bet you get no Uncle Dan DeFord, is that his name?
Oh, the Ford. Yeah, I know who you're talking
He used to be a writer for Sports Illustrated.
Yeah, very good one.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry. Yeah,
He
he
said
was a
it-
very good one.
He said it about Bonds and what's the cycler dude?
Lance Armstrong.
Lance Armstrong.
That's another good example.
He said
Yep.
we like Lance Armstrong and we don't like Barry Bonds.
Well,
He said it.
they made Terrell Owens wait to get in. 'cause
That's
they didn't like
true.
him in
Yeah,
football.
Yeah.
Terrell Owens
That's
is
true.
clearly a first ballot Hall of Fame receiver. He's like third in yards and second in touchdowns, and we're like,
And he's
well,
like top
on your
10 in receptions, too.
yeah, and you're like, well, we're gonna make you wait. Like, what was it, the third time he got in?
I didn't care because Marvin Harrison got in instead of him, so I didn't give a shit.
No, I'm an Eagles fan. I don't like T.O. either. But the first time he came up on the ballot, I was like, well, T.O.'s a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he was
Right.
the
Like,
first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
duh.
And T.O.
Like,
T.O. hasn't gotten over that, by the way.
yeah, but T.O. don't get over anything.
Because it literally goes Jerry Rice, then probably Moss Owens, or maybe, like Marvin Harrison's way up here. Or like,
Yeah.
I'm putting my hand up above Jerry Rice for those who can't see me. And it's, Reggie Wayne's up there too.
Where's
Don't forget
where's
Isaac
Fitz?
Bruce.
Fitz?
Yeah,
Fitzgerald?
yeah.
Oh,
Because he's like second in yards now.
Alex, he's no Marvin Harrison. Get out of here. I'm just joking. No, Fitzgerald, he's up there too. Yeah. There's even others we're not talking about. But like
By
Brian
the-
Stokely for the Colts. Remember him?
By the way, in
yeah, Stokely.
game 7 of this series, I found it very interesting. Because the Seattle team, I was like looking at them trying to figure out who was good on this team. And, of course, the first name that stands out to me is Dennis Johnson.
Oh, now, they had a good team. Back then, they had the best backcourt in the NBA between Dennis Johnson and Gus Johnson. DJ and Gus.
Yeah.
For a couple years.
And they also had Jack Sigma.
Jack Sigma, yep. Downtown Freddie Brown.
Yep.
Come up, he used to fire up.
I don't know who that is, but
You don't know Downtown?
He was like Vinnie Johnson.
Yeah,
He was like the microwave.
oh, okay.
Yeah. He was good.
Well, he had 21 in Game 7.
Yep.
Freddie Brown.
Yeah.
Listen to this, though. Dennis Johnson, in Game 7, shot the ball 14 times. How many do you think he made?
None. Or either one. It was something crazy.
None.
Like
He made 0.
Yeah.
He was 0 of 14 in Game 7.
What's called it? Equaled that stat later on. John Starks, I think, for New York. Something
John
like that.
Starks. This is not a John Starks podcast. We have never had anything good to say about John Starks on this podcast.
Hell no.
Dennis Johnson played 38 minutes and went 0 of 14 from the field with 4 rebounds and 2 assists.
And he was MVP next year.
But he had a really great series the next year.
Yeah.
I remember looking at that. But this, I was like, talk about falling apart in a big moment. Now, he's not nearly the caliber of player Elvin Hayes is, but talk about disappearing in a big moment.
Yeah.
Damn. When some dude named Marvin Webster
was a pretty good
went
center for a while.
27 and 19 in Game 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So didn't Marvin play in the ABA for a while?
Yeah. He
Yeah,
came
that's
over
where he
from
got
ABA.
started. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marvin was tough.
He was good. After this, though, he went to New York, and he didn't really do much there with the Knicks.
By the way, just another name to throw at you. Not that he was a great player, but another name. Mitch Kupchak was on this Bullets team.
Was he?
Yeah, he scored 13 points in Game 7.
Wasn't there
Wow.
a handful of guys that were like in the low double digits? There were like 2 or 3 of them.
Unsold, Dandridge, some guy named Tom Henderson, Elvin Hayes, Charles Johnson, and Mitch Kupchak all scored double digits in that game.
That's why I made that Heat comparison with Karl Anthony Towns if he went there, because it fits perfectly with all the role players and everything.
And then there was some guy named Greg Ballard
Ballard. He was a power forward for them. He was
and Larry Wright.
a guard, I think.
Yeah, nine guys played for the Bullets and 8 guys played for the Sonics. Short up those rotations at the end of the year.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we're not really talking about him anymore. Do anybody else have anything before we do our final statements on Elvin Hayes?
Nope.
All right. Let's start with Mark. Mark, you got a closing statement for Elvin Hayes?
Good power forward. I was a little disappointed. Sorry, Wade, I'm holding things against him that I don't hold against Barkley. But I was a little disappointed. But I remember the eye test. I do remember him having a really good turnaround jumper that he scored a lot on. And he could rebound.
Okay.
Would have liked to see him show up in big games.
All right. Drew?
Well, I like his stats, accolades, totals. I like all that, but like Mark said, you want one of your best players to show up in a big game. You don't want him to choke and have all these comments and stuff, which I definitely have no idea because I'm not around for even half players on this list, but that's why I think
it shows. We know.
It definitely shows, but it's all right. Even though I have more old guys than I do young guys.
That's true.
The funny part is your favorite players are Pettit and Arzen or whatever the hell his name is.
I don't even know what his name is.
Just leave Paul alone, Wade.
I'm starting to think that Drew wants to be an orderly at a nursing home when he gets older.
Anyway, back to Elvin. I think his stats are phenomenal for how long he played, and only player I know to play 80 games in all of his years, and he did it for 16 years. People like Kawhi can't even do that for one season.
Watch it.
Damn.
Oh man.
I will say, even if this was somebody I thought was better, like a Barkley or Malone, I would still say that's one of the most important things they did in their career. Like, that isn't super impressive to play 80 games, at least 80 games. So he had a lot of 82s on there. Every year for 16 years.
That's got to give it to him on that.
In a physical league.
That means he came to work every day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Came to work every day.
Sorry, Drew, I cut you off.
No, that's all I got.
All right, Uncle Doug.
Yeah. I really enjoyed watching Elvin. What I did get to see of him back then, but he I did not know all the things, some of the stories you were telling us. That was kind of an eye opener. But Elvin was, like I said, he had a nice shot, rebounded. So he was a good power forward, but definitely an eye opener. Some of the stories.
Fair enough. That leads to me. I think Elvin Hayes is a worthy player to be on our list. I have no problem. Obviously, he's on my list, so I obviously don't have problems with being on your all's list. He's also a player, though, that through my research and our conversations here tonight, it'll be interesting to see what I do with him at the end of this. He may fall down my list a little bit, but he won't fall off my list for sure. But his counting stats are just so insane, so insane. Like I think Ray mentioned it in the very beginning. Like because of those, he almost has to be on your list.
Right.
Like you can't talk yourself out of it, even if he was the biggest choker in the world. You're like, but 27,000 and 16,000. You're like, whoa.
Yes.
So, yes, Elvin Hayes is an interesting case. Ray?
I don't think there's anything much to say except for, I mean, he's such a beast of a player that, I mean, you really kind of wish he would have won more games, but, I mean, that's on him. But from the 7 minutes that I got to watch him on YouTube, I mean, he looks really good. I mean, but, I mean, the stat line is outstanding, so you got to give it to the man for that.
All right. And Wade?
We probably spent too much time talking shit about him instead of actually talking about how great he was, because he was a great player. He should be on everybody's list. He accomplished a lot of things, a lot of things that a lot of players on our list didn't accomplish. I mean, as much as we talked about him falling apart, he did win a championship. A lot of players on our list didn't even do that.
True.
And he's got the accolades, he's got the stats, and he was a great player.
Well, I will point this out. This is something I've given credit to other players for. Elvin Hayes is another guy that refers to himself in the third person.
Oh, hell.
So he calls him, he refers to himself as the Big E.
The Big E. That was
That's not bad, though. That's not bad.
But, like, when he won his championship, his line was, people can say whatever they want, but Big E's a champion. But on Basketball Reference, though, I do want to point out one of his nicknames is the Big Enigma.
Oh.
Okay.
So, yeah, interesting there. But anyway, that will wrap up our Elvin Hayes portion of this episode, and that will move us into trivia. But before we ask a question, Drew, Mark, would you like to participate, sir?
Yes.
All right. Are you going to ask a question or just answer?
I didn't prepare a question.
Okay. Well, we will see if round 2 of Mark putting his money where his mouth is on trivia, because he really likes to talk crap about us not being good at this.
Throwing shade, Alberta. Throwing shade.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes, he is.
Even missing some weeks, Wade's still smoke us.
All right. So I assume, Drew, you're up.
Yes.
You
All
have
right.
Oh, you're using paper.
Yeah, I think I'm down a board here.
Well, since 1950-51,
Oh boy.
what player has the most fantasy points in one basketball game?
Holy
Oh,
cow.
my gosh.
Since 50-51?
Yes.
Fantasy points?
Yes.
They didn't have fantasy points.
Well, they can go back and calculate it now.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it's just calculating a box score, points,
Okay.
rebounds.
All right.
I feel like there's a
Assists,
trick to this, or you
blocks.
wouldn't be asking it.
Well, I feel like-
It's
I
not
feel
the
like-
obvious answer.
I would say I put down the obvious answer because I'm going to see who had more.
Yeah, because now I'm trying to think.
Me too.
Like, I'm just going to put down the obvious and go, I guess.
Yep, I got mine.
I got
we'll
mine.
go with it.
I got mine.
Is that everybody?
Yeah,
All right.
Sam.
I put Wilt.
I put Wilt. I put Wilt.
Westbrook.
Westbrook.
Tekeem Olajuwon.
No shit.
Oh.
If you score 100 points in a game
How do you
and grab 30-some rebounds, what did Olajuwon do?
Think about it like this, though. If they didn't count the blocks and steals, then you don't get credit for that. And
Yeah.
if Olajuwon had like a 40-point, 20 rebound,
Well, I'll read
15
off,
assists,
I'll read off his stats.
he used to have like quadruple doubles.
I
and
know,
stuff.
but still, you didn't
And
even
then
get to 80 yet.
The point but the point system for your blocks and steals and assists might be different. It depends on what kind of point system they're going by.
Yeah.
He could get a ton of points for blocks or assists or
It's got to be like
Yeah, 'cause
5 for a block.
He has 7 steals and 12 blocks in
I
this
see.
game.
Yeah.
7 steals and 12 blocks. Okay.
So what was his rest of his stat line?
He had 38, 17, 6 assists, 7 steals, and 12 blocks.
Yep. That's it right there.
Because Wilt has
But that's not like 140.
Well, I'm guessing. I'm telling you, the point system for the fantasy league they're going by, you probably get a fuck ton of points for steals and blocks.
Yeah, you get like
'cause
3 for a steal. and
it's a
like
rare
5 for a
Here,
block.
Michael Jordan is
No.
second, and he had 69 points, 18 rebounds, 6 assists, but he only had 4 steals and 1 block. He like,
Yeah, because you're only
But he's
getting
got
like one.
still got 69 points though.
Because
Yeah,
you're only
that's
getting the
what-
point amount, so you're only getting like how many the points are. But then you go to the steals and blocks, and you're getting like blocks for like 7 points, 5 points.
No, I guess I
apiece.
just never. I've played in a ton of basketball leagues. I never played with one where they gave you extra points
Well,
for blocks
yeah.
and steals.
Yep.
well, the sites that did it was DraftKings and FanDuel.
Yep.
I mean, those are the two most popular gambling sites
Those
you
are
can
the
go
ones
on.
that
so.
did all the research.
Yep.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
Interesting.
Well, we're gonna have to go on there and bet on some guys that block a lot of shots.
Yeah, that's right.
So no points on Drew's question.
Yeah.
Who would like to go next?
Well, I'll go.
All right, Ray. He's going to ask us about some guy named Joe Smelly from 1942.
No, I'm not going to ask you that one. But this is a very oddly worded question. So
Great.
here we go. Which Caucasian has scored the most points in an NBA game?
Okay.
Oh crap!
Okay.
Wow.
I got mine.
I got mine.
I have mine.
This is tricky.
Yeah, I got it, but I'm not confident.
I got one.
So odd worded. But okay.
That's everybody.
Yeah.
All right. I got Bird.
I
got
have
Bird.
Bird.
I put Jerry West.
I said Maravich.
Ooh, I forgot about West.
Which Caucasian has scored the most points in an NBA game? It is Tom Chambers with 60.
Oh my! Tom Chambers. Yeah, I thought Maravich scored more than that. Yeah.
Hold on. Who with how many?
60 points.
Bird scored
Bird had
60.
60. Well,
Bird scored
Maravich had
60
68.
to break McHale's record.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
He just said Maravich had 68.
Maravich had 68.
Well, didn't West score 60 in a finals game?
West.
No.
Oh, it was 50. He scored 50 in a finals
I just
game.
thought
man.
Jerry West would have reached some
Because
sort
the
of
year,
finals.
because the year,
3 against the Celtics in the finals.
who did?
Well, maybe this is some kind of DNA test here. They're not totally Caucasian. I don't know. That's just what the book says.
Freaking Tom Chambers.
Should we just give it to Uncle Doug? I'm sure Mark's not lying.
can't. Well, I better. I'm gonna verify it.
Okay, we'll go with that.
I
Well,
think Uncle Doug is right.
yeah, I mean,
Okay. Well,
by the way, I just want to say
we got
this.
some dead air here.
I want to say this. We almost always find a way to work Tom Chambers into about every other episode.
Yeah, Maravich scored 68 points against the Knicks in February of 1977.
All right.
Is he totally Caucasian or is he? I just want to know.
Oh, I thought Maravich was Asian, personally.
Oh, geez. All right, we'll give you the. I'll give you the Maravich. We'll give you the Maravich.
Maravich,
All right.
68.
All right. Mark Uncle Doug down for a point.
Hey, that's all right. I need a point.
What a stupid question.
That's a great question. That's a good question.
I felt pretty
It did make you
confident
think.
Bird.
It did.
And did. All right, who would like to go next?
I got a really interesting one.
Okay.
Don't peek, Ray.
I'm not peeking.
Ooh. All right. In Phoenix Suns history, who has the highest points per game average?
Oh man,
Oh,
I just
boy.
I just looked at this the other day.
Is there like a
I got the
cap on games or played or something?
I think it's usually if you spent one. Usually it's like it's a certain website. It's usually like one season, at least one season.
Okay.
Oh, I'm hating life because I saw the whole 10 list and I can't
I got
remember
his
who the one
name.
was.
The whole list is quite interesting.
Oh, jeez.
I know who it is.
I'm doing it NA because I can't think of his name.
Oh,
Son of a bitch.
I got an answer.
Okay.
Although I have like 3 guys in my head where
It's-
I'm like, I don't know.
I'll tell you the whole list because it's pretty interesting. But sorry.
Ow.
Does everybody have an answer? No.
Yeah, I got it.
Took a gamble here.
Took a gamble.
Okay.
I took a gamble.
Who we got?
I put Booker.
Okay.
See, I thought about Booker, but I put Chris Paul.
I said Alvin Adams.
Okay.
I can't remember his name, but he was their head coach in '93. He was their player. He played for them in the '70s, '80s, but he was their head coach in '93 when they lost to the Bulls. Paul Westphal.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
my
Paul
game.
Westphal, yeah. Ray?
N.A. I went N.A.
A lot of the guys you guys said are on the list.
Yeah.
Number 1 is Charlie Scott at almost 25 points per game.
Wow.
Okay.
He came there. I think I read it. It was he came from the ABA, and he played there for a handful of seasons, and he made All-Star games and
Did
was
he
the
eventually
best
go to the
scorers in the
Celtics?
NBA. I didn't tell me this part,
Charlie Scott.
but it goes Charlie Scott, Barkley, Booker, Gail Goodrich, Amari Stoudemire, Stephon Marbury, Tom Chambers,
Yep.
Paul Westphal, Connie Hawkins, and Walter Davis.
Oh, I forgot about Walter Davis.
So does that just leave me, guys?
Oh.
Uncle Doug's up? All right.
All right. I'm going to follow my theme of last week with the draft.
No.
Okay.
All right. 1968. Elvin Hayes was number 1 in the draft. Came out of the University of Houston. His buddy, Wes Unseld, was number 2 in the draft.
Okay.
Where did Wes go to college?
Mark was writing before the question was over. Damn. I have no idea.
Yeah, let me think of some university.
Yeah, I'm just going to write down a state. That's all I'm going to do.
I got one. I don't know. I'm not fully confident in it, but
Let's go with...
Mm-hmm.
Did you say Waco?
that's no. No, I said, what do you got?
All right, I'm ready. I guess.
All right,
College.
I got it. Is that everybody?
Hold on.
Oh.
Okay, go ahead.
All right.
I put Alabama.
Villanova.
But Notre Dame.
I put Long Island State University Tech of New York.
I put Louisville.
Louisville.
Son of a...
There we go. I thought it was interesting that the guys go 1 and 2 in the draft and win an NBA title together.
Yeah.
Down the road, like not.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Interesting.
All right. It was Louisville good when he was there?
I don't know. I'm like 7.
I would say it was the mid '60s, so I guess we can cut you
It was
some slack
interesting
on that.
I read about it. Kentucky would have liked for him to come there, but they couldn't have black players in the SEC back in those days.
Wow. Okay.
Mark's giving us all sorts of history lessons
Yeah,
today.
for real.
Give him that. All right, guys. Here's my question for the day. It's an interesting one. All right. There is a player this season, and this is my theme, current season, that has shot over 150 jump shots this season, and he is the worst jump shooter in the NBA. He is shooting 33% on all jumpers, 16% from three-point range, and 38% from anywhere in the mid-range.
I got it.
Who is this player?
I got it. I'm pretty confident, too.
Yep. He's on our list.
I got an answer.
I saw this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. It's going to be sad.
Has everybody got one?
Yeah.
Okay. Anthony Davis.
Anthony Davis.
I said
I
Westbrook.
said Westbrook.
I said Anthony Davis.
It is Anthony Davis.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's
It
playing.
had to be one of them Lakers.
That was right.
Man.
So Wade, Doug, Drew, and Ray.
Yes.
Ray got a point.
Go Ray.
Yeah.
I like the pointing to the sky there.
Woo. Wade comes back and we start scoring points.
Yeah, there you go.
He's my good luck charm. Thank you for
Yeah.
being here.
Well, it's,
Oh,
it's we're both Colts fans. We're nabes.
I know.
It's just, yeah.
All right. After this week's tallies, the Ray. The scores are as follows: Ray with 19, Drew with 38, Doug with 40, Alex with 44, and Wade with 50. Wade has now extended his lead this week over myself. So, yeah, Wade's still in the fucking lead.
Yeah.
So we appreciate you tuning in for our Elvin Hayes episode, and we would appreciate you tuning in next week for the highly debated bad boy Isaiah Thomas episode, which will also have Mark Tyler on it. So thanks for listening to Sports the NEMO Way.